What if everything you believe about space is just a comforting lie? Imagine standing at the absolute edge of the night sky, expecting to find a wall, a safe, final boundary that holds everything we know inside. But what if the universe has been hiding a terrifying secret this entire time? What if the edge of our reality isn't a wall at all, but a wound in existence itself? In this explainer, we're not just looking at stars, we're journeying to the absolute edge of existence to find out what's really waiting for us in the dark.
I mean, seriously, what if distance itself is just an illusion hiding a much more unsettling truth? To really dig into this, we have to let go of the comforting idea that we live in a safe, predictable universe, because the deeper you look, the more reality begins to fracture. The universe is vast, ancient, completely indifferent, and deeply, deeply strange. We aren't just rattling off facts today. We are explorers standing right at the precipice of everything, staring out into the absolute unknown. Every single discovery we talk about here, it's a clue, a doorway into a much larger, much darker cosmic mystery.
You see, what's truly terrifying is just how quickly the truth completely shatters our human ego. For centuries, we've suffered from what you might call the boundary illusion. It's this cozy, reassuring belief that our cosmos is all there is, the whole shebang. But back in the 1980s, physicists like Alan Guth and Andre Linde found something deeply unsettling buried right in the mathematics of the Big Bang. It's a concept called eternal inflation. And if it's right, our entire observable universe, literally all 93 billion light-years of it, is nothing more than a single, incredibly vulnerable soap bubble drifting through this unstoppable, churning foam. Our reality is just a tiny, localized anomaly, endlessly expanding inside a sea of other cosmic bubbles that we are never, ever going to be able to reach.
And just when you think you've got a solid grip on our place in the void, reality just fractures even further. In 1999, physicists Lisa Randall and Raman Sundram proposed a radical, frankly claustrophobic solution to a massive physics problem. Why is gravity so absurdly weak? Well, they suggested that our entire universe is merely a thin, three-dimensional membrane. Think of it like a piece of paper. We're floating inside a higher dimensional space they called the bulk, so gravity is weak because it's literally bleeding out into a dimension that we are permanently blind to. Our universe isn't expanding into emptiness, it's stretching sideways across this invisible architecture completely oblivious to what terrifying unseen forces might be drifting through the bulk right next to us.
Now, if you try to measure the raw void around us, you run into a number that will make your head spin. 10 to the power of 120. It's a 1 with 120 zeros after it. This massive number represents what's famously known as the worst prediction in the history of physics. When scientists actually calculate the energy density of the quantum vacuum from scratch, it turns out to be this many times larger than the dark energy we actually see pushing our universe apart. Something, we have no idea what, is artificially canceling out almost all of that wild vacuum energy. And it hints at a violently unstable foundation sitting just beneath our feet. The deeper scientists looked into this, the less reality seemed to hold together. The comforting lie we all tell ourselves is that empty space is just, well, empty. A tranquil, quiet void. But legendary physicist John Wheeler revealed a much more terrifying truth. At the absolute smallest possible scale, empty space doesn't behave like space at all. It is a boiling, violently unstable quantum foam. Beneath the smooth, peaceful illusion of the night sky is this chaotic, writhing substrate. The cosmos isn't expanding into some quiet, empty room. It's actively crystallizing out of a seething sea of raw, uncontrollable energy.
Because of this, physicists are now haunted by one singular realization. It's like we are laying a floor over an abyss that is exactly one quantum fluctuation deep. In 2012, when we finally pinned down the exact mass of the Higgs boson, the math revealed an absolute nightmare scenario. It turns out, our universe is likely in a false vacuum state. Basically, we're resting on a highly unstable energy ledge. A single quantum fluctuation could trigger a collapse into a true vacuum. Just imagine it, a bubble of absolute destruction nucleating out in space, completely rewriting the laws of physics and expanding outward at the speed of light. It could literally be racing towards us right now. And because it moves at the speed of light, we would never even see it coming. One moment we're here, and the next, we simply do not exist.
But wait, what if our universe wasn't destroyed by a cosmic anomaly, but actually born from one? What if the Big Bang was just an exhaust vent? Physicist Carlo Rovelli, working with loop quantum gravity, proposed something wild. Black holes don't just collapse forever. Eventually, they bounce. They turn into white holes that spew everything back out. So this means our Big Bang, the origin of everything we know and love, might just be the interior of a white hole, born from the death of a black hole in some unseen parent cosmos. We aren't inside a standalone universe. We are living inside a cosmic wound that belongs to somewhere else entirely. So, if our birth was tied to another universe's death, what does that mean for our future? Under the cyclic models developed by physicists Paul Steinhardt and Neil Turok, our reality operates on a terrifying, unbreakable schedule. 13.8 billion years ago, there's an eruption. Then, trillions of years of expansion. But after that, a slow contraction, or maybe a violent collision between two higher-dimensional brains, completely wiping the slate clean and resetting the clock to year zero? There was no single origin point. There's only the claustrophobic horror that our reality is just violently obliterated and reset over an eternal, inescapable timescale.
And that leaves us with a truly impossible question to ponder. What if the universe is expanding into its own destroyed past? Think about it. There is no outside container. The universe just expands into conditions that eventually become the exact preconditions for its own rebirth. Every star you see, every civilization that might be out there, every memory you have ever made, it's all doomed to vanish without a trace, infinitely, in a loop with no exit. We aren't the first version of reality, guys. We're just the current one, patiently waiting for the inevitable erasure.
But here's the thing. We actually don't have to wait trillions of years for erasure. It is happening right now, exactly 16 billion light-years away in every single direction. That distance marks the cosmic event horizon. Because the expansion of the universe is accelerating, space at that specific boundary is being carried away from us faster than light can even travel. It is a permanent wall of unknowability. A shrinking cage. Our universe is expanding directly into a region that is instantly and forever sealed away from us.
The incredibly grim fate awaiting our descendants was perfectly captured by physicist Lawrence Krauss. He said, "We will be erased not by destruction, but by distance." In 2 trillion years, the acceleration of space is going to push every other galaxy completely beyond that event horizon. Future civilizations are going to look up at a completely dark, empty sky. They will have absolutely no empirical evidence that the Big Bang ever occurred, no record of our cosmic history whatsoever. Reality isn't just expanding. It is actively hiding its own evidence, covering its tracks in an ocean of absolute distance.
But what if this physical limit we're seeing is actually a technological one? Enter the simulation hypothesis. If advanced civilizations out there survive long enough and choose to run simulations of their ancestors, then statistically speaking, it's highly likely we are living inside one right now. Physicist Silas Being even suggested looking at the GZK limit, which is this unnatural energy cap on the cosmic rays hitting our planet, as a potential clue. He argued it might be the equivalent of cosmic pixelation right at the edge of our rendered environment.
Which brings us to a deeply, deeply strange proposition. Under this simulation framework, the universe isn't expanding into an empty room, it's expanding into allocated memory. What we experience as the physical growth of new space is literally just the rendering of unrendered resources, exactly like terrain generating in a video game as the player walks forward. But here's the most terrifying implication of that idea. What happens to the system running us? Does it have limits? Because a simulation that runs out of computational resources doesn't gracefully pause, it simply ends.
To look past the simulation idea is to gaze into the absolute foundation of physics, specifically loop quantum gravity. Here, we find a mind-bending concept known as pre-geometry. This theory suggests that space itself isn't even fundamental. It's actually built from discrete quantized chunks of geometry. So the edge of the universe isn't a location you can travel to, it's a phase boundary. The universe is actively expanding into a raw, non-spatial quantum precursor, where space itself hasn't even formed yet. It's a frontier with absolutely no coordinates, no dimensions, and no duration, just raw potential.
But all of these theories still secretly cling to one comforting idea, that there is a container holding us. Now we have to confront the absolute hardest truth derived from Einstein's general relativity. As humans, our fundamental assumption is that every container must have an outside reality. But general relativity says something far more alien. There is no container. There's no invisible medium through which the universe is moving. The universe doesn't exist in space. The universe is space. It is literally expanding into absolute non-existence. As the brilliant Stephen Hawking famously argued, asking what is outside the universe is mathematically and geometrically incoherent. It's literally like asking what is south of the South Pole. I know the question sounds completely logical to our human brains, but the actual structure of reality offers absolutely no room for an outside. There is no beyond. We are not a balloon growing inside a room. We are a reality stretching out with no edge and no table beneath it.
In fact, there is no beneath at all.
And so after peeling back every single layer of this cosmic mystery, we are left standing on an abyss of pure mathematics, stranded in the existential dread of a cosmos that absolutely refuses to comfort us. We built our entire civilization on the belief that everything sits inside something larger. But if there really is no container, if there is no outside, then what exactly is expanding? We are not inside something, we are the something. Which leaves us with one final, profound mystery to haunt you tonight. If there is no outside to our reality, then who or what is looking in?